Right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the job. We're all hanging out here. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Jake Schofield with Schofield Welding. I'm a rig welder, been a rig welder for 7 years, and just travel and make money chasing the pipelines and the fabrication side of the pipe. All right, so guys, probably one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, how do I get a job in the oil industry? That's a good question. It's a great subject because a lot of people don't understand how to get involved in this industry. Now, I'm going to give you my 5 biggest tips on how to get involved in this. All right, I'm not going to hand out jobs. I'm not going to do anything like that. If you guys are looking for a helper job, you can submit a video to SchofieldWeldingJobs@gmail.com, and when I have people that ask me for helpers, that's where I pick from. All right, because they showed commitment, they showed the want to do it. And they put the effort into building the video and sending it to me. So that's where I pick my helpers from. For everybody, for anybody that's looking for helpers. Jed and Jared are on their way over right now. But guys, the 5 biggest tips I got for being a helper or getting in any kind of oil industry job or any job you are trying to do. This doesn't just relate to the oil industry, all right? Whatever you want to freaking do, everything's going to require effort, all right? Number 1, guys, when I started into this industry, I fell into it. I was team roping with a guy. I trained horses down in Texas with my cousin's husband, and it was awesome. I mean, I had a fantastic time, but I got an opportunity to go be a welder helper, and it literally quadrupled, I don't know how to say, 10 times to my money, and made it to where I could afford some things. Well, I fell into it. The kid I was team roping with, his brother needed a helper, and that's how I started. Well, guys, after that job lasted 3 months. I got laid off, and I went home. I went back to Idaho. Well, when I got there, went back to training horses, got tired of doing that, and decided to get back out as a helper. All right. The way I did it, tip number 1, I Googled oilfield companies. All right. Google oilfield companies, Wyoming. Click, go down, you can click on it, and there will be a freaking page of companies. All right, wherever you're from, there is something that is oilfield related. I'm sure there is. And if there's not, there's nuclear, there's sanitary, there's all sorts of stuff you guys can do to make that kind of money. Ooh, nice, got our welding beanies. But the way I did it was, that's how I did it. I Googled oilfield companies, Wyoming. Guys, so probably the biggest thing, tip number 1, Google oilfield companies. Wherever you're from, see if there's some kind of patch there, all right? Especially down in Texas, Louisiana, all over on that south coast and whatnot. I mean, there's plenty of work down there. The 22% of the drilling is happening down in Midland, Odessa right now, all right? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, drive to the oil patch, okay? I mean, seriously, you guys, nothing will make a bigger impression on somebody than if you walk up to them, shake their hand, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to say to them. Say, hey, my name's Jake Schofield. Don't say that. I mean, come on now, we're all going to freaking, Anyways, I just walk up to him and say, hey, my name's Jake Schofield. Man, I just drove down from Idaho. I am looking for a job right now as a welder helper, and wondering if you or any of your buddies could use a welder helper. First thing everybody says is no. Okay? It's just instinct. It's just what we do. No, don't know nothing. Sorry. Because we are lazy individuals, everybody is, you're a lazy individual. All right? The first thing you're going to do to avoid the conversation is say, no, I don't. Man, that's all right. No problem. Do you happen to know of any welding companies around, or where I could even drive to where I could go knock on doors? Just trying to make something happen here. Okay, guys? You got to break the initial ice when you start, because everybody's going to say no. Don't just, oh, okay, and then walk off, because you totally lost the whole opportunity. All right, now the next thing you're going to do is he's going to start thinking a little more after that. He's going to be like, yeah, man, this company down here, they're laying this much pipe. They're doing like 16-inch. These guys over here, they're doing a bunch of prefab on some stuff. Just go over there and go talk to them. All right, perfect, man. I appreciate your help. Is there any way I could get your number or any other number that you might think I could call and get hooked up on? Okay? Next thing you need to do is get that welder's number. All right? welders, a welder getting a welder number, no problem. All right, because they realize that, hey, this dude's going to keep me hooked up, and I realize that, hey, this dude right here is going to keep me hooked up. All right, it's going to be good that way. Now, one thing welders forget and tend to forget a lot, and if you are a welder, you need to pay attention to this, is helpers and laborers still go on other jobs too, and they have just as much authority to get you hooked up on something. All right, they have just the same ability to get you hooked up on something. So I get helpers numbers, I get labor hand numbers, I get every number I can get, because eventually on this job right here, we've got 15 people on here. Eventually one day we're going to freaking get laid off. Everybody's getting laid off, and we got 15 people going out in 15 different directions. That's 15 potential new jobs. Think about that before you don't give a number out to somebody, all right? Because it's important. Tip number 3, show up to the campgrounds. Okay, campgrounds, hotel rooms, that is going to be a huge freaking place to find welders. We live in RVs, you guys. We travel for a living. We are freaking road gypsies. That is all we are. We chase money, and we are just on the road all the time. Luckily, lately we haven't had to leave, all right? We've been down here for a year and a half with this company, which is freaking unheard of. And we've been just hooked up, so we haven't been really traveling all that much. But before this job, we were in North Dakota. Before that job, we were back down here in Colorado. And before that job, we were in Salt Lake, Utah, and then Idaho, and all over the place. I mean, we've just been all over. Go to the campgrounds, because that is where you're going to find a lot of your people, all right? Campgrounds, hotel rooms. Look for rig truck. We don't hide, believe me. I mean, it's not a hard thing to see a rig truck. It's not. It's like, oh, dude, that dude's got a welding machine. I'm going to pull over and go talk to him. Just go make friends, build relationships. That's how you're going to get hooked up on jobs. Tip number 4 is restaurants and bars and things like that. Now, welders have a bad stigma around them. They are heavy drinkers, so they will be in the bars a lot. And you don't have to necessarily be that way, but that is a place where you can find them, all right? I'm not that way. I don't go to the bar, but when it comes time to look for something, and if I've been out of work and I can't seem to get any of my phone numbers to work, don't get me wrong, man. I'll walk right into a bar and start buying drinks for every welder in there, all right? Start building relationships with those people. It's the same thing, man. Looking for a job, where are you guys working? Things like that. You're building relationships with these people, and they are the ones that are going to keep you hooked up the same as you are going to try to keep them hooked up, all right? This is just one big mafia. Ain't nobody got more contacts in the mafia than a bunch of pipeliners and welders and people like that, all right? Tip number 5, don't really have a tip number 5. Just go get it done, all right? Just go make it happen. Everybody be blessed. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.